All right, welcome back. We continue talking about the defense this time. And, you know, the defense actually played fairly well. They didn't get sacks, but they only allowed, in essence, one touchdown. One was a mistake by Gunnar Olszewski. It was a three-play drive. There's not much a defense can do in that point. However, Mark Kaboly, they did not get to the quarterback as they did a lot last week. Joe Burrow got sacked 7 times. I knew it was going to be a little different today. Why could they not put pressure on Jones, the quarterback? And was it strictly the good work of their offensive line in New England?
I don't think it was the good work of their offensive line. I think they had an offense put together how the Steelers should have their offense put together. Get rid of the ball quickly, be able to run the ball, take a shot here or there down the field to Aguilar. I think that's exactly how the Steelers should play offense, and maybe that would have been flipped around a little bit. I don't think you can count on Alex Highsmith for 3 sacks per game. I don't think Malik Reed was that bad. I think they were very worried about their run game, and that's why you saw the Marvin Leal play in that bigger defensive line where they had 4 defensive linemen and 1 outside linebacker. So you're not going to get a ton of sacks, but a guy like TJ Watt can change a game in a split.
Tackles for losses.
Just anything. And he's, I mean, it's just a huge miss right now.
It's not, what's that old bum Phillips saying? It's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes. There ain't no Joe out there like, you know, like TJ. There's just not. And I think Malik Reed, good dude, productive player. I mean, productive player. But, I mean, what I saw, I mean, they were going empty a lot. He was getting rid of the ball quick, but they were also, he had that extra. How many times did he find somebody over the middle open in single coverage on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10? A lot.
And to me, what's that mean?
Yeah.
It's a part of the field between the hash marks. You know, so to me, it was good protection, and it just, you cannot replicate what 91 does, or what 90, I'm sorry. Not Stephon to it, what 90 does. You just can't replicate it. So
Jameer Jones, 91.
No, you can't. No, you can't replicate it. No, that's my. But you also have to 17 points. I mean, in today's NFL,
right.
That's not a horrible.
Correct.
I mean, Cam Sutton drops an interception. You'd
right.
love to have that back. But they did get an interception. Minka got another interception, obviously. I mean, no, they didn't get enough pressure. No, they didn't stop the run probably the way they wanted to, especially on that final drive. And they didn't do 3rd downs the way they would want to, allowing over 50%. But they only let up 17 points, and one was that short drive.
Well, that's not a scrub of a defense. I mean, this is a defense gave up 7 points to Miami. You see what they did today.
Yeah, they exploded.
42 points. Right. So it's not like it's a terrible defense that the Steelers just couldn't go down the field on either. So
let me ask you this, Will, and this is about Devin Bush. He was out. I guess he has an injury, but I didn't notice him a lot. And Chris Hoke on our postgame show continues to say he's getting better. But I don't see him on the stat sheet.
Before he got hurt, I saw him taken out on 3rd down a lot early in the game, which I know they're going to multiple packages, but they had Jack still in the game. You know, they had 41, and they had Spillane in the game sometimes. And I'm sitting there thinking, I remember very specifically last year when Devin was struggling and saying, are you still consider yourself a 3-down linebacker? And he said yes. It's obvious to me the coaching staff does not.
Right.
And to me, like, if you're going to draft up, I mean, that's the thing. He's going to have to carry that trade to go up to get him in the draft. And his pedigree, he's going to have to carry that forever. He needs to be a 3-down linebacker. It's obvious to me the coaching staff doesn't believe he is.
Well, hasn't Devin become like an offensive lineman? If you don't hear about him, that means he's doing all right.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be in position to make tackles, to do things.
But I think I have to be honest. I watched more in the first game than I did this one. But he was in position. He was where he's supposed to be, and he's allowing other guys to make plays. He's not making those plays. They claim he's this close, that he's where he's supposed to be. It's not what you wanted, but I think he has improved.
But, I mean, but when you see 51, 51 out there, Miles Jack is noticeable.
Very noticeable.
And I don't know, I mean, they both have sort of the same job, correct?
13 tackles, I think.
So.
But can Jack do his job if Devin's not doing his at all?
Well, I think that's where Spillane comes in, right? I think they're putting this all under the umbrella of keeping these guys fresh, and I don't think any of us are buying that right now. I think they're just trying to protect Devin Bush a little bit here and saying they're trying to keep these guys fresh, where in reality they don't want him out there and exposing himself the entire time. I thought he did play well in Cincinnati. Here, once again, not noticeable, but I think Spillane played a lot of the 3rd down type of situations where he can help out in the passing game. But as long as you have Miles Jack there, I think you're good at that position.
Here's the other problem that the offense poses to the defense, and that is time of possession. Because every time you look at it, the last 2 games, they have been out-possessed, which means that defense is on the field, Jeff, an awful lot. And when it is, it wears down. I thought it wore down today in the 4th quarter because they're on the field an awful lot. They got a short week. They can't afford to have another time of possession loss, can they?
Yeah, I think sometimes that stat can be overrated, but that's because you're scoring. when offenses are scoring quickly, it can be overrated. But when you're not scoring at all and you're leaving the defense on the field and you're just not making plays, you're not extending drives, I mean, yeah, I think that is a problem.
That's something we probably overlooked a little bit. Those last, 11 or 13 plays where they ran 11 of the 13 plays and gashed them. When you know darn well they're running the ball. That's should be the easiest time to be able to stop a team, to be able to get the ball back in order to win. I thought they were past that from last year, but it doesn't look like it. I think that's an issue
Pomp,
too.
you make a point, but I mean, in the final stats, I think New England only had the ball like, what, 30-42, something like that, 30-45. It was that last drive that sort of was the shift there. I mean, the Steelers they had something I didn't even think was possible. What was it, like a 16-play, 48-yard drive?
16 plays,
Which seems like literally mathematically impossible to do. They pulled that off, and that was, what, 7 minutes plus?
Yeah.
But you're right, I was surprised at the end of the game knowing what's coming, and it almost looked like what Pitt did to Western Michigan the night before, where Pitt was like, we're up, we're going to run the ball 78 times in a row, we're playing against a team that's not as good as us, and then run them over. That's what happened. So.
All right, well, next up it's Cleveland Browns. It's a Thursday night game, and it's a big one. It's an AFC North game. Everybody in the division lost today. We'll talk about that matchup coming up when we return. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Thanks for joining us here late on this Sunday night.
The Sports Showdown is sponsored by GMC Sierra.